Wesker.
Yeah, and I lost until I realized that it was a lot easier than what I was compensating.
Wait, Resident Evil 5 knows it's stupid?
Yes.
I'm glad that makes.
It really doesn't. It's like,
Yes,
oh, let me
It's
put in a scene
self-aware.
where Chris punches a boulder, the very boulder that instantly killed him in the first game.
It's not being serious at all.
Why is this not
Chris
connected?
even tells Wesker, he's like,
There it
do you
is.
get all your ideas from comic book villains? Of course it knows how stupid it is. That's why it's great.
Then
It's
why do you
fun.
need 6?
No, 6 it takes itself seriously. That's not so
6
bad.
is wonderful.
Brian,
Oh,
Brian,
You need someone to play with. You can't play with Mr. Lombardo there because I have a feeling he rage quits.
Lex
yes,
has
I
never
have.
played 6.
Yes, I have. Yes, I have.
Gunnar, I need you to look something up.
Okay.
So, you know that Let's Play of you and your brother playing Cuphead?
Oh my God! Yeah.
You need to find that.
Because
Because I can't, because your name isn't on it, so I can't find it on YouTube.
Yeah. Let me see if I can find it.
Cuphead looks insanely difficult, even for people that know how to play video games.
Oh, it's
What?
beautiful. Honestly, it's one of the things, I mean, like, he was the best, so that's why he got the part. But sending me that just really pushed him over the edge because it was like, he's not really a gamer anymore. But this video of him and his brother playing Cuphead for the first time and him having never heard of it or seen it is just the most brilliant, funny video.
Well, that's what I was going to tell you earlier when you asked me about it. Was I'm not a big gamer, but my brother is a huge gamer. Like that's all. Like that's what he wants to do. That's like all his life. So him and his friend, they don't do it anymore. But last year they did like basically what the movie is. They did like a live stream YouTube channel to play video games, and we lived together at the same house. So one day they asked me, hey, Gunnar, do you want to be our special guest on this episode while we play Cuphead? And I've never played Cuphead before. I just thought it looked cool. So I'm figuring out how to play Cuphead live. It is so difficult.
Watching.
Yeah, a lot of people watch me. And then there's a part like halfway through the video where I'm like really confused by like what's going on. And my brother goes, oh, yeah, you're working for the devil. And I go, what? And I start freaking. And then like as soon as I find like, yeah, you're working for the devil, you're getting like your evil souls. And then the level loads, and the person I'm supposed to kill is like this giant baby carrot that's crying and it's like super cute. And I'm like, I can't kill this thing and give it to the devil. Like what the? Like, it was traumatizing. Yeah, so it's just my brother and his friend making
You guys
fun
can
of
share it on
me.
Facebook. It's up now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Ray
I'll,
kicked us live on YouTube also. Hello, YouTube.
I'll send it to you, John.
okay, so Michelle, there's a link now on the Horror Syndicate page. That's like the live video.
Okay, I'm setting it up to share it.
You share that. Whoops, not send as a message.
Oh, okay, you just sent me the link. I need to treasure that. I need to like share that and make it promotional material at some point.
It's you know what you should do if you do DVDs. You should have it like a special.
Yes.
Like yeah. Like he once did this for real. You can tell he's acting because he's really bad at it.
Well, I didn't put you anything through as difficult as Cuphead, at least. Although I did put you through a battle royale because even LiveScream gets to have a battle royale.
I was so bad. I died so many times. I died so many times.
So Michelle Iantuano.
That's it.
Oh, okay, thank God. All right, here we go. I'm playing the trailer. I'll let you know when we're going live. We already got someone watching, so.
All right, so I've shared it in my timeline, so we'll see what happens.
There we go.
Yeah. I appreciate you going through and showing me how to do it.
Classic Clown is hungry and he wants human flesh. Was that you, Michelle?
That's me, yeah.
Okay. I can hear it now that I hear you talking in real life and not
It
in
is
the recording.
modulated, though.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I have a habit of putting my voice in my films just because I'm lazy and don't feel like... It's always like the Foley comes like 2 days before picture lock, and I'm like, well, I don't have time to actually hire somebody, so I'm just gonna do it myself.
Now, the music that you got did you compose that, or is that royalty free?
100% of the music that is in LiveScream is composed by my husband Austin, so it's all custom for the film.
Great job.
Badass.
Lunch Ladies trailer is playing next.
It was a lot. It was a lot of fun because like while we were rehearsing, he would be over there like finishing up the score on the piano or the keyboard in the corner. And it was really fun to see all of this like happening at once. That was really fun.
The entire film was made in my living room, pretty much.
Yeah, no, it really was. It really was.
I mean, this is where I am right now. I'm sitting on my couch. This is where we filmed it. Like, this is the background that Gunnar was sitting in front of.
Shit! Yeah, it is. No, I recognize it now.
Shit, you're right.
Although we changed the paintings. The painting that was behind you is now over there.
All right, and the third trailer is Snake Out of Compton.
Snake.
Yes. Yes, it is.
I haven't seen that trailer yet.
I'm watching it now. Oh my god. What is this?
Snake Out of Compton is a movie that I've yet seen, and I'm trying to watch it.
No, I'm going back to that link to see the trailer.
I like the Steve Urkel character looking guy.
I'm hoping that we would get like a screener, like if we just keep promoting it.
Who made this?
I have no idea.
Dude, this looks kind of awesome. This is
Exactly what you want it to be.
It reminds me of like something sci-fi would do, only better.
Oh.
I hope
you snake that escapes
LiveScream made that movie.
and becomes bigger and bigger and eats people in Compton, California. It's exactly what you want it to be. It's exactly what I want it to be. It's everything.
Oh, there he is.
No.
There's a big motherfucking snake.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
That man just said Holy Mary J. Blige, and I am so.
See how many people we have watching so far. We got 9. That's pretty cool.
One of them's probably my mother.
And like I said, after this airs, it'll be archived and you can share it and like post it places. And that's when everyone watches the stuff. Nobody watches it live, as I discovered.
People will jump in for 10, 20 seconds, you know, and then leave and come back. And
Wait to see if Lex Quinn is on screen. If she's not, then they get out.
oh crap! I forgot to show my butt. Or we're not on Facebook yet.
What?
I was thinking about showing my butt because we haven't had any nudity for a little while.
Okay.
That's never been new.
Dude, what is happening? Dude, I'm sorry. I'm freaking out. This is crazy.
This trailer just
Alright.
keeps going.
He's punching a
Our
giant
thing is
snake in
playing.
the face.
So we will be live in like a couple seconds, and you'll hear me do my corny intro.
You'll be able to tell because Brian's like pitch level rises.
No,
That's
not her.
really what it sounds like.
Yeah.
Is that a Cannibal Holocaust shirt, Jared?
All right. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the THS Lives here tonight. My name is Brian Enright. You can follow me here on Facebook at Brian Enright. You can follow me here on Twitter and Instagram at The Horror Jew. Up next, we have Jared Letourneau. Jared, good evening.
Good evening, Brian, and all you boils and ghouls at home. You guys can follow me on Facebook at Jared Letourneau or on Twitter at zombie_survivor. Excited for tonight. Back to you.
All right. Thank you very much, Jared. Up next, we have the director of an upcoming Christmas movie that warms your heart as much as it warms your bowels. Here we go. We have director Mike Lombardo. Mike, good evening.
Good evening, Brian. I'm excited to be here. Mike Lombardo. You can find me on the Horror Syndicate Lives right now. You can also find me at realsplatter.com. That's real with 2 E's, like a reel of film, and on the FBI's most wanted list. Back to you, Brian.
All right, thank you very much, Mike Lombardo. And up
Which
next, we have
coincidentally is where Lex
another
Quinn found
special
him.
guest director. We have another special guest director whose name I have been fucking up the entire time, but let's see if we get this right. We have the director of the upcoming indie horror hit Livescream, Michelle Iantuano. Good evening, Michelle.
Good job. That worked. Hello.
Where can we find you, Michelle?
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm on www.octopunkmedia.com, facebook.com/octopunkmedia, or I'm on Twitter and Instagram and stuff as Lady Tuono. That's Tuono.
All right, very cool. And of course, we have the actor of the movie Livescream. Here he is, Gunnar Willis. Gunnar, good evening.
Hello, good evening. I don't have a website really, but you can Google my name and see what pops up.
It's prospects.
I think that you'll get Mike Lombardo's long lost brother because you guys look identical.
Yeah, we got. Well, let me see if I can. Let's see what I can do here. Let's see. Let's see.
Kind of like on the eyes. I've worked in food service.
Is this better? Is this kind of what we?
Holy shit! Is that?
Yeah, not bad.
Screen mirroring for a second.
You gotta have like this whoosh here almost.
I'm seeing
boy band receding hairline kind of look.
I am seeing
It's
double
uncanny.
right now.
Hey, yeah, that's me, dude. That's me. I've been using him shampoo. I'm being honest. I got a receding hairline.
I gotta tell you, Mike, Gunnar is a lot taller than you, though.
Is he? How tall are you, Gunnar?
That's right. I am 6'7".
I'm 6'20", so I'm like slightly taller.
And that's the end of the episode. Everyone have a great evening. Thanks for joining us tonight.
We also have a special guest on my camera feed, Lex Quinn, who's being very shy right now.
Hi, Lex.
Lex is best.
She loves Resident Evil 6 as much as she
No,
loves
I
Resident
don't.
Evil 5.
That camera and strangle the hell out of you right now. You ever say that again?
That's right. And we're going to, here we go. All right. So we had this little movie coming up. Mike Lombardo brought it up to our attention here at the Horror Syndicate. He was just like, I saw this movie, Lunch Ladies, and I saw this other movie that was incredible. You guys have to check it out. There's a lot of work into it. It's a full-length feature, and it's fucking awesome. So we decided to check it out, for Mike's sake, to prove, if he was wrong or right. And obviously, he was right. We absolutely adored Livescream. But I'm not going to be the one to talk about it. But we're going to bring it to Michelle and Mr. Willis, Gunnar Willis, to talk about Livescream. So how did you come up with the idea for doing a horror movie? Actually, just go into it, because I'm sure that the viewers who have never seen the movie want to know what Livescream is about.
So Livescream is basically a real-time Twitch stream that has a narrative. So it's a guy named Scott playing a video game that was just given to him, an indie horror game that one of his followers sent to him. And he has no idea what he's getting into when he starts, but he soon discovers that the game is having some real-life deadly consequences. And it soon becomes a survival movie, essentially, like a survival kind of slasher film told through a Twitch stream. So every level is like a different type of indie horror video game. It's like Five Nights at Freddy's or Slender or Amnesia or anything that you've probably seen on YouTube in the last 4 years that Markiplier has played. And as far as how I got the idea for it, I remember last summer I was kind of in this like creative rut, and I was asked to be a part of a feature project called What Becomes of Us, where I was asked to make a short film for a feature anthology by Scott and John Johnson of Eternal Ground Films. And, so I was mulling over, ideas for how to make a film for that project. So I was in idea mode, and I was watching something called Uno the Movie, which I recommend everybody sit down and go to YouTube and watch all 2 hours and 45 minutes of Uno the Movie, which is the... Huh?
Is that the one where Mike Lombardo is naked playing Uno by himself, thinking it's solitaire?
Unfortunately, there's no nudity. It's literally just the Uno game, no face cams. But it's
you lied to me, Lombardo.
It's produced by the Achievement Hunters. So if you've watched, you know, Achievement Hunter or Rooster Teeth or Red versus Blue, it's those guys. And yeah, they play Uno on Xbox One for 3 hours, and it's on election night 2016. And there's just this wonderful meta of it starts out so cheerful and wonderful, and then just ends into madness and chaos and desperation by the end, as they all want to just go home and be with their wives and eat something.
Much like the election.
They decide to start playing this at like 4:30 in the afternoon, and they think it'll be like, you know, a 40-minute let's play, and then they'll all get to go home, and you know, it's 7, and they're like, I want to see what happens to my country. So it's a wonderful thing. And I remember thinking, you know, I've watched it like 4 times at this point, and I was watching it in July of last year, and I was like, if these idiots can make a 3-hour-long feature with an Uno game and no face cams, I feel like I could probably make a feature with a video game. And over the next 6 months, it just sort of stuck with me that, wow, I could do this with one actor. I could do this, like, you know, I could film it in a weekend because it would only need to be a couple takes. And from there, it's just like, you know, the idea bloomed, and then I decided to go with like kind of that Dante's Inferno like plot structure, to where, you know, you have multiple levels and each level has consequences, and then you have the live system. And you know, in November is kind of when it started to take shape, and then December to February is when we actually made the film.
That's awesome. I mean, you definitely jumped in right on time with this transition of horror movies, especially dedicated to the younger crowd, because everything is, like, surprisingly, everything is now on Twitch or other like streaming services where people just watch people play video games, and it's just like having your cousins over during like a holiday party where everyone watches you play Resident Evil 2. Now we have everyone coming up like online watching other people play video games, which is pretty awesome. I haven't gotten into it yet for myself because I like being on the other end playing the video games. I like being what Gunner's character is in LiveScream. And Gunner, you do such an amazing job with what you have. So what was the anxiety like of being a gamer and being hunted and trying to survive the game without going into the story?
Well, let's see. Well, for one, I like games, but I wouldn't call myself a huge gamer. So that was for that. I wanted to obviously be realistic to that, you know, culture. But my brother is a huge gamer. So I actually, honestly, a lot of what I did was based off either my brother or people my brother watches. And then I guess my biggest anxiety was, you know, memorizing and doing the, you know, 75-page scripts, you know, without, you know, that was because I've never had anything that demanding before. So I was like, I hope I get it right, because you know,
you had to memorize all of the lines.
Yeah, well, yes and no. We definitely did, but it was a lot of going back and rehearsing and really figuring out like what I could remember and when to remember. Like, there was a lot of like cheating involved almost, you know, to where like I would have like Michelle would put clues on the screen for me and like, oh, right, I'm supposed to say that, you know, stuff like that. So
did you get that?
But yeah, I guess that was
a lot.
Actually, not like a ton, not as much as you'd think. Pretty much like what was in the movie was what Michelle wrote, to a point. Like that, like if anything, it was just like the wording was different than what was written, but like it wasn't anything drastically improv. Like pretty much for the most part, everything that was in there was was in their script. So.
Yeah, it was pretty much like the script plus about 20% filler, riffing, improvisations. I would say that most of the jokes that I like the best in the film were Gunner's. There's a line where he's just like,
actually scared me.
well, it's like the line in the there's a level like in the middle, and at this point Gunner's character is just descended into madness. Like he's so stressed, and he goes up to he goes up to this pot of plants and it says, you know, you need to water these plants. He's just like, maybe later. And I just die every time because it's like, why would you say that?
What's funny about it, Gunnar, is that it all comes off as like that's such a huge chunk of dialogue to have to know, and I mean you carry the entire movie, but it all comes out sounding so naturalistic that you're actually talking to these people in a chat room and reacting to their responses, and that blew me away because it's so difficult to direct somebody to be natural. It's like, don't anticipate, even though you know what's going to happen, and that's so difficult for actors. And I really applaud you for that.
Thank you so much. I really, really appreciate that. But I can't so much of it really was Michelle like watching me, and like it really was like a super tag team effort because I couldn't. We went through it so many times and like massaging it out and massaging my performance. So everything you saw really went through like
So Michelle, a lot of massaging. I get it.
Yes,
I get it.
Yes. It was a lot of like maybe don't do that, but I like this, you know. You know.
So I had to tell him to bring back the swearing about 50% so that my mother could watch it.
That was true. And it's funny because there's still a lot. Yeah, there's still a lot, but I can imagine. Yeah, it was like every other word, and yeah, that was. Yeah, I'm so happy you made that call because that would have been comical for a bad reason.
Gunnar says F-bombs instead of so.
Fuck constantly. That's what I do too. I've also got criticized for doing that in my movies. I say fuck constantly. I'm like, but that's how everyone talks. That's not. So Michelle,
I know I've said fuck multiple times playing a horror survival game.
Oh God, yeah.
Well, that's another thing.
Alien Isolation.
Because I wasn't playing the games. I wasn't. Everything other than like very literally playing the games, I was interacting with them. Like I would see everything that you guys would see real time. Because it really was like me playing a horror game, and I do exactly that. You know, when I get scared, I start cursing very loudly, and people need to tell me to stop cursing very loudly. So you know, so yeah. That wasn't actually acting. That was just me actually being scared.
How was it directing, like, knowing that you have these giant, like, 20, 30-minute takes? What was it like? I mean, did you have to just give notes, like, after a solid chunk, or would you stop in the middle, cut, basically, and then give him notes and start from scratch? Or you just try to run through the whole thing with just rehearsals?
So basically our process was, because we live 3 hours apart, we had to do all rehearsal through Skype. So we did like 3 or 4 video rehearsals to where we would take like 15 to 20 pages and we would just run through it, and I would have him run through it and I'd give him comments on what I liked and what I didn't. And 90% of the time I was just like, you're perfect. So we kind of already had it down from there. And then he showed up for a live rehearsal on like a Thursday night. So he came over, we ran through it, more or less in like one take. I mean, there were a couple mess ups and we just kind of, you know, like sometimes the version that I was showing him, the gameplay wasn't synced up properly yet. So like we would just sort of have to work through that. I recorded his performance, and then on Friday I used that to like resync the gameplay footage to how I thought he would perform from a timing standpoint. And then on Saturday we filmed it. We did a 1-take shot. We did a oneer. And so Gunnar is capable of actually doing this script in one go. But one of the benefits of being able to have all the gameplay and chat and everything pre-rendered is that I took his face cam and I dragged and dropped it into the film, and I re-rendered that, and we watched it on Saturday night, me and Gunnar and Austin, who did the music. And the 3 of us basically came to the conclusion that we liked it, but we needed to give Gunnar breaks in order to regain some of his energy and, you know, help his ability to carry the movie energetically. And also there was a level that was 8 minutes long and really, really dragged. So overnight, we were trying to come up with an idea for how to add tension to that level and how to cut like half of it out. So we did that on Sunday morning. We re-recorded that gameplay and then re-rendered everything again. And then we did the version of the film that you see. As far as when to cut and, you know, when to tweak things, by that time, I pretty much had told Gunnar kind of what to do as far as like I was able to predict what he was going to do because we were kind of on the same page about how we wanted this performance to be. The only time I had to cut was when he made basically a mistake that we couldn't fix. Like I know one time I had to cut because I think he jumped like a page in lines or something, and then there was like this minute of silence, and I was like, I can't edit around this, so we're just gonna have to go back to one.
Yep.
But 2 out of the 3 takes in the film were his first attempt, so I didn't even have to yell cut on those. And you have to be very careful about knowing when to yell cut on something like that. There's a couple flubs or whatever, you know, that made it into the film, but they weren't big enough for me to throw away an entire take, make him go back to 1, and have that energy cost of having to start over. And we were on a limited time as well. So really only things that just would like completely wreck like the logic of the film or the flow of the film. You know, like missing an entire chunk of dialogue that was extremely plot relevant or something. I pretty much had to make the decision that I would only yell cut if it was something like that. As far as like, you know, 1-line delivery or stuff like that, I kind of had to just, you know, let it go, I guess. But luckily, I mean, there's really nothing like that in Gunnar's performance. It was really like, it was really, really easy to work with him. And he makes it look so easy. He made it look easy even in his freaking audition. Like, you talk about him like behaving really natural and convincing you of everything that he's saying. That's what he did in his audition too. And I remember in his second audition, you know, he was running through like the opening 5 pages and he finished. And I was like, I don't want him to stop. I want him to keep talking. I want him to keep going. So that's kind of when I knew I was like, I have to work with Gunnar.
So how did you guys meet? Did you do like an open casting thing, or did you like see Gunnar like at Dunkin' Donuts or something? Like how did this,
kind of both. Kind of both. So basically, I knew in late December that I was looking for a guy who was like, you know, 22 to 30, could pass as a gamer, and you know, was charismatic, but also could be serious. Just, you know, a good actor. And I kind of started going through like backstage. I went through talent agencies. I went through friends that I knew, just anybody. And I reached out to like 15 guys and I was like, hey, you know, come audition for this film. Gunnar, I had seen in a short film called God, which was at the South Carolina Underground Film Festival. And I remember.
I honestly forgot.
Yeah.
I forgot that you watched that. I forgot that's how you, yeah.
Yeah, that was in November. And at that point, I was sort of like the pre-production wheels were kind of turning in my head. And I was like, I'm looking for a guy and I think he might be good. And I was sitting next to Michael Whaley, who's a friend of mine who directed Gunnar in 1 or 2 things at this point, I think, or maybe just once.
I think it's one thing he's directed me in, but we've kind of crossed paths a couple times. But hopefully a second time. Hopefully a second time.
He's got you in mind for at least a couple things, I know.
Cool.
So anyway, I was sitting next to him and I was just like, that's really good. And he's just like, oh, that's Gunnar. Of course he's good. So I ended up, I used Michael Whaley to get to Gunnar. I was like, hey, you know, send me his contact information, just see if he's interested in auditioning for this feature in Charleston. And he was one of the ones who thankfully did send me an audition tape. And I was instantly like, oh my God, so amazing. There were several that were pretty good. I ended up bringing back 4 people for callbacks. And then, you know, chose Gunnar from there. So it was like a 2-week casting process.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, very cool. And then, so I have a question about the actual games themselves. So Gunnar, well, I guess it's for both of you, obviously, but so Michelle, you had everything pre-rendered out. Did you like After Effects, all of the chat window stuff, like the animations, and then the actual games, and then give him a solid video chunk to watch? Or how?
So the chat was made line by line in Adobe Premiere. There's probably a better way to have done that, but that's how I did it. Huh?
You did that with a titler?
I used the font tool, the title tool, yeah. So basically it was 10 layers because there were 10 lines.
That took a while.
And every time, you know, a new line came up in the chat, one had to go away and everything had to shift up like 20 pixels or whatever. So I basically just did that with every, and usually when I would get the sequence to about 4 minutes long, Premiere would start crashing. So I would have to like render that as like a video and then just start on the next part of the chat and then just put all those little chat videos together on top of the gameplay footage, which was all rendered individually because I had all the levels individual in Unreal Engine, so I would capture the gameplay of those into separate files. So those were cut and then timed and put together. We had some timing in the middle for like the little text parts where like the game talks to Gunnar. We had that kind of timed out, and then yeah, it was rendered all into like an hour and 5 minute long like chunk that I put up in front of him, and it was timed a little off, so I was kind of monitoring it as he was as we were recording his performance. So I had a computer next to him where I was kind of like I would hit pause if I knew that he was still going, but the game was about to like go into the next section. Yeah. So, but other than that, it was just pretty much most of what you see on screen in LiveScream as the audience is what he was saying to react to in real time.
That's cool. You brought up the Unreal Engine. How did you get connected with them?
So Unreal Engine is a free program. Unless you make money off of it, then you owe them 5%. So we'll see what happens.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's a free resource, and it's actually like, it's weird how I got involved in that. A year ago, so I guess taking back to like January of 2016, I started playing Fallout 4 and I just absolutely fell in love with it. And so for like the first quarter of like 2016, I was just immersed in Fallout 4 and I finished it and I was like, I love all these characters and my brain is just going with like these ideas for where they could go next story-wise. And so I was like, what if I can import all the assets of Fallout 4 into Unreal Engine and then make like a web series out of it? So there began my quest in the like summer of 2016 to learn Unreal Engine so I could do this project. And I went through like 20 hours of Unreal tutorials on YouTube and all this stuff. And then eventually, after importing the cryo vaults of Vault 111 into Unreal and having that take 10 hours and still look like crap, I was like, there's no way that I could ever do this. I may as well, like, if I'm going to do this, I should do it just in Fallout 4's engine and just do it like a machinima. So I put it aside and I hadn't touched it for like a couple years, a year and a half. But then when I came up with the idea for LiveScream, I was like, you know, Unreal was actually really easy to use and it's free and it's really versatile. I bet I could actually build games in it for this film. So really it was having sort of my feet wet in it, knowing that it's a really user-friendly program and it was available to me. So that's kind of how I got into it. And it was a fantastic resource. I mean, not to shy away from like Unity or Cry or any of the other similar engines or whatever, but you just can't get the user friendliness and the community aspect of Unreal. I mean, anytime I had a problem in programming because I had no idea what I was doing, I would look it up on YouTube and there would be a tutorial or 5 tutorials, or there would be some sort of help section. So the support was really, really strong for it. Any problem I ever had, I could find an answer to any question, so to speak. So that was really the benefit of that program, I think.
It's wild. I had no idea that it was a free program. I mean, we probably all played multiple games with the Unreal Engine. Like, yeah. I had no idea it was free. That's cool.
Hellblade Senua's Sacrifice is made in the Unreal Engine, and that's by Ninja Theory. And that's a huge, huge game that came out last year. And it's amazing that they can make their game look like that in Unreal, and my games look like, but at the same time, like that's Unreal is an easy program to learn, but a difficult program to master. Getting the lighting engines right and all that. I mean, that takes a lot of expertise and practice and skill. Luckily, because LiveScream was emulating an indie horror game, and it was emulating this just botched nightmare of a game that collaborated itself together on the internet. It didn't need to look like a AAA quality game. So
Right.
I was kind of able to get away with having like amateur looking games in the context of the film.
That's cool.
Yeah, it definitely worked. Especially when Gunnar in the beginning was saying that, someone sent me this game. No one's ever played this game before. It's kind of like in development. What were the developers thinking? And Gunnar has his hands on it. In the very beginning of the movie. I won't spoil the movie for anybody, but it definitely played off as, this is an unfinished game, and it worked really well because even though it was announced that it was unfinished in the very beginning of the movie, it played like, no, there is a curse behind this game, and that's the reason why it's unfinished, because like there's some type of demonic forces out there that made this game and gave it to Gunnar's character. We have a couple things going on with with our viewers who are watching the show right now. I'm just going to read out to you guys, let you guys know that we have some fans watching right now. We have Mike Lombardo. Howdy, folks. God damn it. Mike Lombardo. Howdy, folks. Welcome to the show.
Hi, welcome.
Didn't see that coming. Kevin Foster, Mike's best friend. Glad to be here. Lex Quinn in all capitals letters. Got Joe Ridgely with his laughing, crying, smiley face. I think something funny was said. Ryan Savage, that Gunnar guy is so funny. Haha, I have a receding hairline.
Gunnar, after can give you Brian info, you can get involved in this baldness thing too.
That's right. That's right. I'll let you all know how to do it on my Patreon. Charlie Kaufman says hello. Hello, Charlie Kaufman.
Oh my God, it's Jumping Wolf.
Yes, Dean John Malkovich.
Oh, Jumping Wolf is joining us? Oh no.
That's Jumping Wolf, yeah.
Oh my God. So without, I guess I can't say this without spoiling anything. So spoiler alert, slightly, people. To Charlie Kaufman, when I saw your picture, I cried. I legitimately cried. Like I got split up on prom night. I was so sad. So bravo. Bravo.
Kevin Foster, you knocked it out of the park, Gunnar.
Thank you, Kevin.
Chris D'Amico from work says hi.
Hi, Chris D'Amico from work.
Asen Haran says, what is Gunnar's role? It's just a side. It's a small part. It's a very small part in the movie.
Very, very minuscule role.
If you blink, you miss it type deal.
Yeah. To walk on because it's a little bit more. He's sitting, so it's more like a cameo.
Mm-hmm. We just roll him on the screen and then roll him out as he waits.
That lead where he was great. Fantastic.
He's actually the additional content that you unlock on Friday the 13th.
With a microtransaction.
That would be hilarious if you did for the DVD, which I hope there's going to be a DVD. You should have the special features listed as DLC.
Yeah.
And put an M rating on the box. Oh. There's a lot of F-bombs in it.
We have Jacob Willis saying, hell yeah, grandma glasses.
My brother. That is my younger brother, Jacob Willis.
Oh, nice.
Well, haha, Jacob. It's not grandma's glasses. It's my own glasses. So joke's on you.
That's right, jerk. Jacob. Suck it.
Yeah. Everyone say boo, Jacob. Boo, Jacob.
Did I call him Jason?
So, Brian, we have a question from Lex Quinn here in the studio.
Oh, yeah. Hello.
Lex Quinn, what was your question?
You're
asking about what games?
That's right, Lex Quinn. Resident Evil 6 is the superior game out of 5. That'll open her up.
Oh my God. Well, I know when we were at Crimson Screen, Michelle, I kind of already geeked out about it because I saw all of your inspirations in the credits. PT, Five Nights at Freddy's, Slender. I'm actually curious. Not a lot of people know about where Slenderman like the Slender series and stuff previously before the game came out. Have you ever seen any of the Slenderman series, like Marble Hornets, Tribe 12, Everyman Hybrid, any of those at all?
I haven't, because up until the games came out, I was actually really afraid to like Google the Slender Man because it was just one of those things that like you would hear about, and like I was legitimately like creepypasta actually really got under my skin. So I was like, I don't want to Google it because I don't want nightmares. And then I watched Michael and Gavin play the Slender Man game. I was like, oh, that's it. He's just in a suit with his tentacles. That's fine.
I really like it. A lot of those people who create the Slender series are like guerrilla filming stuff. It's really neat.
Yeah, I have heard of Marble Hornets. I know that they did like a new project or something with Slender Man that just came out. I think that they originally like did a lot with that, but yeah, I haven't gone back and watched any of it. Really, it's the games that have kind of made me familiar with that character.
I think you'd like it. The best, in my personal opinion, the easiest and the best to follow is Tribe 12 because it's super straightforward and it doesn't, it's not vague. Like Marble Hornets is super fucking vague, and Everyman Hybrid is so complicated, but like it's worth it if you start watching them. It's got some really cool stuff in it. So I don't know. It's an interesting thing. And you said that Unreal Engine is free to download, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you got to have a pretty decent computer to be able to run it well. Because there were even a couple times that I got a beast of a computer, and it really pushed my RAM to the limits. But it is a really good, really free program. So. Oh my goodness, Jacob's been turned into Jared's been turned into a dog.
That happens sometimes. Yeah. Is the moon full tonight? Is that what's happening? Yeah, Jared actually was a guinea pig for this male baldness research project, and now when the moon is full, he sprouts all of his hair, and it's a whole thing. It really is. Do we lose both of our other hosts? I guess I'm running the show right now. Everyone is gone. So I have a question that I know that Lex Quinn wants to ask as well. What are your favorite horror games? Let's just break it down. Let's address the elephant in the room, Michelle. Like, what's going on there? I know Gunnar is a huge gamer, so we'll ask him that.
So what's funny is that
noise it usually almost picks
a lot of the ones that I used in LiveScream, I would say, are ones that I've enjoyed watching other people play. Honestly, I don't really like playing them myself because I'm a huge wimp. I did play a little bit of Amnesia. I got 45 minutes into Amnesia, and then the game was like, press R2 if you want to sprint, and I was like, nope, and then I closed the game, and I never opened it ever again. But Until Dawn is one I really enjoyed. I've actually played Until Dawn start to finish a couple times because I really like the choice-based, story-based games, and you can die in that game as 8 different characters, so you can die a lot. But you don't actually have to like hide or do any combat or like fight monsters or anything like that, or there's not really any jump scares or anything. It's like watching or playing like a slasher movie but in a game.
It's like an interactive movie, yeah.
Yeah, so that one's a lot of fun.
What about Soma?
I didn't really like Soma. I thought Soma was kind of overly long, and yeah, I didn't have a lot of fun. Fun with Soma. It wasn't as scary as Amnesia, but yeah, ultimately that one like didn't really capture my interest. I really like Alien Isolation. Alien Isolation is fabulous.
That game is freaky as fuck.
Like I've never seen a game that had as good as like an AI in an enemy before. Like the AI of the alien is just like mind blowing.
Stop.
Is your daughter trying to break in, Brian?
Like Dawn of the Dead over here.
Zombie apocalusse right now. He's trying to barricade the door to continue.
Yeah, I think Brian's baby zombie's trying to break in.
She's trying to get in. Like not during my pocket. I tried offering her my peanut butter wafer that I grabbed, but she didn't want that. She just wants to come in and talk about Resident Evil 6.
So until you mentioned Until Dawn, Michelle, I thought that game was really cool. Like, I like the second, without spoiling it for anybody, I really like the second half of it when it turns into a Larry Fessenden movie. Then I really like it. But my only real gripe with it is that when you're playing as all 8 characters, they made like a big deal about like the interpersonal relationships with the people. Like, you know, you can choose to look at the person's phone and then reveal that they were cheating on the other person and all that. And then like there's there's reactions from other characters, but then you jump into their shoes. So it's like you're not really making choices that are affecting the story. You're pretty much directing it because you're omnipotent. So you're going between all of them. You know what I mean? So that was a really funky way to play the games. It's not like I choose that, you know, like I tell Lex Quinn to, you know, I make her walk out the door to investigate a scary noise, and then she disappears. Then the rest of the game, I'm like, fuck, what happened to Lex Quinn? Then I jump into Lex Quinn and then see her die. So then it kind of fucks with it. You know what I'm saying? Like I thought that was weird.
I thought the butterfly effect was not as prominent as they would say it would be. The first game that I've really experienced that actually lived up to its hype of being choice-based is Detroit, which just came out a couple weeks ago. That game is legit as far as like you make choices early on in the game as one character, and you know it can completely change whether another character dies at the end. I mean, and it makes sense. It's kind of like if you do something violent, then the public opinion goes down, so that when she's faced with the barrel of a gun later on, and that guy looks at the TV and says, you know, do people like androids or do people hate androids? That's what just influences his decision to shoot her. Like stuff like that. That's just really, really like you have to be careful in every aspect of that game. And I'm actually quite confident that no matter how many times how many hours I put into that game, I'll probably never 100% all of the flowcharts. Because just too many things in the flowcharts to fill in. Like you have to make decisions like 6 chapters back in order to like unlock that pathway. So I don't know if I want to like replay it to that extent. But yeah, not a horror game, but kind of what Until Dawn promised it would be, but kind of didn't end up being. I'm looking back at my collection too, and I'm trying to remind myself of anything else, and I see I have Prey for PS4. And Prey isn't technically a horror game, but I mean it's I wouldn't want to play it in VR. And I really enjoyed Prey, although it absolutely kicked my butt, and I might have to like go back and start over and try to play it again, because I ended up like getting cornered with no bullets or no anything, and just getting annihilated by all these phantoms and mimics and stuff that were coming at me. I was just stuck in this death loop, and I'm like, I don't know how to play it anymore. It's just destroying me. So yeah, that would be my other one, and I would say that kind of influenced one of the levels in LiveScream, although that level was more like an Alien Isolation level.
I definitely got a Prey vibe out of that too, though, for sure.
I love the original Prey for the Xbox 360, and I know that they were working on like a Prey 2. But I haven't played the new one. Is it still a Native American character who's like gets abducted by aliens?
He's Chinese American, I think, and no, it's really not similar to. And actually, I guess you can play as male or female in that game. Okay. So you can be Lady Morgan or Dude Morgan. But yeah, it's like completely different. I haven't played the original Prey, but from what I've heard, most people who've played both say that there's really no similarities. It's the new Prey is more like it reminded me a lot of Half-Life. Mm-hmm. Like it's really, really similar to Half-Life, and brought back a lot of those sort of feelings. And like you go around a corner, and like in Half-Life you're worried like a head crab's gonna get you. Well, in Prey you're worried that cup is gonna turn into a monster. So it's kind of like the same sort of anxiety and humor and everything else that Half-Life had.
Yeah. So now we're on this topic of survival horror. It's just opened the gates of lots of questions from me to everyone here who is watching, everyone who is watching on Facebook land and YouTube world. That's a great way to call it. One of the I pretty much grew up on survival horror games, and that was of course playing Resident Evil 2, and then I even got into the ones such as Half-Life, The Suffering, Manhunt. But now it's like
Silent Hill.
Yeah,
I never got into Silent Hill, and that's because
it was the best survival horror game ever made.
It's the
That's
best.
what I hear, and I never got into it because I don't know. I was more into zombies and the purgatory thing. Jacob's Ladder wasn't my thing, and until I became an adult. And I want to go back and I want to play the Silent Hill games. But it's pretty awesome that you made a movie based on survival horror video games and meeting kind of like I know you hate to be compared to Unfriended, or whatever the fucking name of the movie is, where everything takes place on social media or whatever. Unfriended is the one where like the dude is like, "Oh, I slept with this girl," and everyone's like, "Boo," and they get killed, right?
That's pretty much it, yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Well, to be fair, that's exactly the plot of this movie. So,
What movie did I watch?
It's
It's just a spurned lover doing everything against Gunnar.
Yeah, but no, I got a really cool vibe from watching it. It brought me back to like all those like Steam games that you see on the interwebs, and I'm trying to get my colloquial pretty modern with the rest of the world who's watching right now. That whatever lingo these kids use. What's that? What's that, Mike?
Playing Atari. That's what the kids call it these days.
Yeah, and they're bringing Atari back. I don't know what they're doing with that, but that's exciting. But it's now a perfect time because you have all of these like horror video games out there that like anyone can like I go on the PlayStation 4 and I see like all these different like horror games for like free, and it's pretty cool that you're tackling the subject of like survival horror games, and you're opening up or kind of expanding the universe of straying away from like cam footage to now recorded internet footage. Do you see this as being a bigger market than it actually is with all these movies such as Unfriended and LiveScream right now? Do you see this as an expanding market, or do you see as it kind of going to fade away?
Well, Brian, that new movie called Dark Web or whatever's coming out, that actually looks a little
the sequel to Unfriended.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That one actually
Well,
looks
there's also the one with I forget his name, John Cho for Searching.
Yeah.
That one won special jury.
You froze.
That one actually like highly. Can you hear me now?
Yep. Sorry, it won special jury. What was that?
It won special jury at Sundance.
Oh yeah, that's the prequel to Showgirls, right?
Yeah, it's that one.
I thought the prequel to Showgirls
It was Searching for Love in All the Wrong Places, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
You got it. You nailed it. That one's a lot like it's in the same market as LiveScream.
Yeah, I think
the prequel to Showgirls.
I think that's the direction that found footage is going to go in, because you can't really nobody really has camcorders anymore, and that seemed to be like the premise of like Paranormal Activity or like Blair Witch is we have our little Canon Handycam, we're going to go do something with it, and that's kind of how they got that found footage genre from like 1999 to like 2009. But now it is, we all have webcams, we all have cell phones, we all have these HD cameras in our pocket, and you get stuff like Tangerine, I think it was called, which was a film that was at Sundance that was like shot entirely on an iPhone. It wasn't a horror movie, but it was just sort of the concept of like we shot this film with a phone. Tangerine, yeah. And
it's the movie about fruits and vegetables.
I think it's the movie about like trans prostitutes or something like that. Yeah, actually,
completely different direction.
I think, or something like that, or drag queens, or something in California. It was actually like a serious movie. It wasn't horror at all. But the point being that like technology is, we're approaching filmmaking, with webcams and with cell phones, and I think that's the direction that we're going. So it's sort of natural for found footage to also mold and adapt, because social media and the internet can be a really scary place. And I think that like we all kind of have that fear of like our webcam here is watching us at all times. So that's just like a setup for a horror movie, or maybe something's wrong with my stream when I'm interacting with my fans and I'm playing a game. That's a horror movie. So I think that there's going to be more of that. I don't know if anybody's going to try to do something like LiveScream. I know I did it so fast because I wanted to make sure that I was the first. Because I'm pretty sure that somebody else is out there thinking about it or trying to do something. I don't know if this would inspire somebody to do something similar. Like if somebody would see it and think, oh, well, I'm going to try to make something that's kind of like that. I don't know how that's gonna work, but yeah.
When the Slender series that I mentioned before, they started like way back in 2009, 2010, and a lot of them have moved up to 2018. And I used to watch them as growing up when I was a kid, teenager, whatever. And these did scare the shit out of me, but it's like a combination of found footage and video blogging. Like they record everything on their camcorder and they document all the weird shit that's happening to them. And as it's moved into this more digital age, they interact with people they have like Twitters and stuff. And they've done live streams too. Like Tribe 12 has done a bunch of live streams, and they fucked around with like the camera or something. They make, I can't explain it very well, but like they make it seem like shit is happening.
They stage
it's
like but
it's really cool. There's a moment in Tribe 12 where Tribe 12 is basically the main character's future self is popping up in and out of the series. So literally this guy who's the filmmaker, the creator, is the main character as well, and he will literally sit his camcorder down and he'll literally have conversations with himself like all the time. It's like insane. Like it's really cool. So it's a mix between all of that. So I feel like that's it's not exactly the same as like people streaming or being on Skype or whatever, but I feel like that's a huge thing. I don't know how to describe it. It's really cool if you check it out, but
there's a really hilarious Onion News video about filmmakers filming a movie on a backup camera in their car. Look it up, you'll fucking piss yourself laughing. It's so good. It's talking about how they kept hitting the actors, like trying to get close-ups.
Wait, so that was actually not a movie? It was actually an Onion article?
Yeah, it was after Tangerine came out. That was like the next thing was really funny. I completely forgot the point I was actually trying to make. So anyway, continue.
It's just funny to me that like I'm sure somebody will at some point. There's so many filmmakers out there, and everybody's looking for something to kind of stand apart and to do something different. And somebody out there somewhere will make a film on a backup camera. I guarantee it.
I'm pretty sure it'll be me and Mike Lombardo. Mike just got his license, so I fully trust him in using a backup camera to follow me as I walk through nature to find birds to pick up and feed them birdseed and try to pet deer. So it should be an interesting time.
Brian, you shouldn't be telling them this. They might steal it for live stream too.
They may. But, let me go to Facebook land real quick. Charlie Kaufman says, I told Michelle I knew she had something special when I forgot that I was watching a movie during one section when I thought to myself, oh, I hate these type of games.
Yeah, that's the forest level. He told me that. He said he hates page collectors.
And Sheldon Howell says, hello from Youngstown, Ohio.
Yay, thank you for not moving to Charleston.
So I have a quick question for everyone who is here. This is for everyone involved. What is your favorite video game movie? Not done yet. What is your favorite video game movie? And what is your worst video game movie? I'll start. I'll give you guys time to think about it, but I'm going to hit Jared with this one first.
Wow. I'm going to be in the minority on both of my answers. My favorite is probably Street Fighter.
Yes!
God bless JCVD as an American soldier.
Funny thing is about Jean-Claude Van Damme on Street Fighter, I read that he was on cocaine the entire movie and was cheating on his wife. So I don't know if that's fun news or I mean, the cocaine sounds great. The whole cheating part doesn't. But Raul Julia, man,
he's awesome.
Movie. He is a godsend. I'm so glad we had Raul Julia, Oscar-winning actor, Kiss of the Spider-Woman. Last movie was Colonel Bison, Street Fighter.
So my favorite video game movie is Silent Hill, because I think that accurately captured the feel of those games, and they used the soundtrack, which is gorgeous and amazing. Yeah. And then my least favorite video game movie is I want to say Silent Hill 2, whatever the hell this title was, Revelations, because that was a miserable experience to sit through. But I'm actually just gonna say the Resident Evil franchise as a whole.
Except for the first one.
The first one's okay, but
the first one wasn't bad.
That's really my same answer. Though.
The whole series can burn in hell.
Well, if you took a if a director sat down and played Resident Evil and then said, "Here's $20 million to make the polar opposite of this," then that's what like I don't even understand what happened there.
It's a garbage franchise.
I have an affinity for garbage though, so I actually like some of the later ones, but completely removed from like the game. Like I was never a huge like Resident Evil fan growing up or anything, so for me it's like I can just watch Mila Jovovich and Ali Larder run around and shotgun zombies in the face, and you know it's fun. But I would say as far as actually just like video game movies, I'd say like I actually kind of enjoyed the Prince of Persia movie. I am just in love with Gemma Arterton. Like I will watch her, and like she played the princess in that movie. She was a Bond girl, and I guess it might have been Casino Royale or Quantum of Solace. She was the one who got dipped in oil and left on Daniel Craig's bed.
Quantum of Solace.
Yeah. So anyway,
like
yeah, she is just gorgeous, and I love her voice, and like I will watch her in anything. And so for me, like her getting to be this just princess, you know, awesome warrior character in Prince of Persia, that just won the entire movie for me. Worst video game movie is a tie for me between the Super Mario Brothers.
No! How do I eject someone from a podcast?
It is as bad as everyone says it is. It is unbearable.
No, get out of here.
Like 90s dystopian future.
Like you like Resident Evil, but you hate Super Mario Brothers.
No. That movie is god awful. So
what do you have it tying with?
Cement factory in Wilmington, North Carolina. I found that out last weekend when I was in Wilmington for a film festival. They're like, "Oh yeah, they filmed that whole movie in the cement factory where they film like everything here." But anyway, the other movie that I hate.
I hope your Unreal Engine crashes.
the other video game movie I hate was Assassin's Creed. Okay. That movie was miserable. Like it just.
What about just miserable. Alone in the Dark?
Cut out. What was the other one?
Assassin's Creed with Michael Fassbender, which you wouldn't think, but I tried to watch it on an airplane, and it was an hour-long flight to Charlotte, and it couldn't be over fast enough.
It seems like the perfect airplane movie. I watched this movie with Bette Midler and Goldie Hawn on an airplane. I'm like, this is a really good airplane movie. I wouldn't watch this anywhere else. Watch it about 1,000 miles above the air. Like, yeah, that. I can watch this movie, but Assassin's Creed about that the same height in the air. It's kind of like you have, you either watch Assassin's Creed or jump to your death. So, I mean, there's really no choice yet there.
Have you seen Uwe Boll's masterpiece, Alone in the Dark?
I have seen a few Uwe Boll's masterpieces, and yeah, they're pretty bad.
Walk out on a plane watching Alone in the Dark.
I never got to say my worst video game movie.
I haven't answered at all.
Yeah, we'll get to you, Gunner. You're the video game king. We definitely want to hear what you have to say, Gunner. Don't worry.
All right.
Jared, what's the
worst video game? All I'm going to say is Double Dragon.
They made a movie. I don't remember the movie of Double Dragon.
Scott Wolf and Mark Damascus?
Oh my God.
I did. Okay, I repressed that movie. I remember the little masks. Okay.
Scott Wolf, Scott Wolf trying to act like he knows Kung Fu. Party of 5, give me a break.
So, Gunner, what about you? You are like the most elite gamer of us. So, which game movies are you game for, and what are you not?
My least favorite, I guess. That's like hard to really say because there's not really there's not really a lot of good ones. You know, to be honest with you, a lot of people
nice about that answer. I'm really happy that's where that went.
Yeah, but I will say my favorite video game movie. I loved it when I was a kid, and it's kind of a guilty pleasure now. And I'm sorry to say this, Mike, because I believe it's on your shirt. But Doom with Dwayne The Rock Johnson, because I will watch Dwayne The Rock Johnson punch.
I'll tell you, I have it on DVD behind me, and got some fun parts. The first-person shooter segment with the Pinky Demon.
Yeah, I remember I was a kid, and like I was like, man, my mom's probably not going to be happy watching this movie with so many curse words in it and blood. And then I get to the part where Carl Urban's just like first-person shooter, and I go ape shit. Like it was the coolest. Like I don't remember how old I was. I wasn't very old, but man, I freaked out during that. Like it's that. I'm not going to defend that it's a good movie.
No, but it's got. I love it. Although I really wonder when I saw it in the theater, I was in high school, and I turned to my friends. It's like, oh, if you unlock like the 26th chromosome, or whatever, it makes you superhuman. I'm like, wouldn't that just make you retarded? No, I'm not trying to be a dick. Like I mean that seriously. Like that, I'm like that's. I don't think that the science is very sound in this movie.
It wouldn't really work in real life situation. You wouldn't be super mutant. Yeah, you would have some disabilities.
Yeah, well, I'm like, I don't quite think that they thought this through before they wrote this plot line, but I'll tell you, seeing the Doom 3 levels like done as sets was fucking cool. They really did a great job with the production design. It just, it is what it is.
Yeah, well, there you go. That is my answer.
Well, Lex Quinn loves the Resident Evil movies.
No.
Thank God.
Don't need to be aired ever again in anything. It's pretty much Mike's answer. Silent Hill and the excluding, I guess, the first one, the entire Resident Evil franchise movies.
So you like the first Resident Evil?
It's okay.
Harsh words from Lex Quinn.
It's
so.
Okay.
Real quick before you continue.
The second movie sucks, but at least Nemesis was live action suit actor. That was cool.
Nemesis did look really. I like the second one. Was actually really funny.
Yeah, it had 5 minutes of comparable video game like footage like that it actually portrayed, and it was Nemesis, and it was the beginning scene when the police fight the zombies. That is it.
Yeah.
Well, it said. I remember when the movie came out, it said rated. Though the MPAA rating was R for nonstop violence, and I'm like, yeah, my ass. Then I watched it. There is literally nonstop action violence. Because
but it's kind of like the awkward like domestic violence that you see in those crime shows. It makes you really uncomfortable. Before we progress any further, I just want everyone in the entire world to know, if you have followed the Friday the 13th video game Facebook page, it is no longer called Friday the 13th video game Facebook page. It is called Friday the 13th lawsuit discussion, and they changed the name about 26 minutes ago. Congratulations. If you are part of that group, it is now called the lawsuit discussion.
The creators did that?
Yep. No. This is the fan page. Because I guess that's all it is.
Wow, that's hilarious. But hey, Brian, there's some Facebook comments going on.
Oh, I will get to the Facebook comments. Before we get into that, I will just announce that my favorite video game movie is Super Mario Brothers, and I will explain my reasons later. And in second place would be Street Fighter. And the worst video game movie for me is Mortal Kombat, and I will get into that later if you guys wish to discuss that.
Yeah,
go ahead. What kind of comments do we have on social media? All right, so we have Kevin Foster, favorite Mortal Kombat. Least favorite Mortal Kombat Annihilation. Kevin Foster again. Christian Slater couldn't even save Alone in the Dark or Alone in the Dark. Kevin Foster, Gunner smells what The Rock is cooking.
Absolutely, I do.
Sean Edison, Eitzen is waiting. Sean Eitzen. Okay. So, Mario Brothers Michelle has brought up a very touchy subject for me. Everyone, well, the main actors, John Leguizamo and the late Bob Hoskins, were drunk every day of the shooting of making this movie. They showed up drunk, they left drunk. Bob Hoskins, John Leguizamo don't remember making this movie. All they said they remember is they made a movie, and they had a bunch of people from the Japanese video game company follow them and just like lurk around them and make them really uncomfortable. Bob Hoskins broke his finger, and he had to shoot like the rest of the movie wearing a flesh-colored cast on his arm, which you have to like look to see it. So besides everyone being drunk and the movie being an absolute blast, that's my favorite movie. And the worst one was Mortal Kombat, because they basically made Enter the Dragon, but PG-13, and it was not exciting. And then Paul Anderson proved to continue being less exciting when he made the Resident Evil series.
Yeah, but Mortal Kombat Annihilation was way worse than the original.
No, that movie was unwatchable. Even as like a 10-year-old, I knew that movie was garbage. It was rough. Well, like, I hate Paul Anderson's thing where he takes like notoriously violent franchises and then waters them down for like children. I'm like, what the hell are you doing? Why is
it could be worse.
Not violent.
He could be taking really violent franchises and watering them down for a German audience, which is what Uwe Boll has done with every fucking movie he has made.
Okay, so I will defend
Blood Rain. Oh shit, I didn't even think about Blood Rain. God damn it.
I got 6 minutes into that movie and I was like, this is worse. That's saying, although the game's fun, but that was, yeah. But
Meatloaf's in that movie. How can you not like? No, that movie is fucking garbage. The only movie I liked was Postal.
Uwe directed Postal, which is actually really, really funny and pretty close to the game until like the last part of it. And he also in that movie plays himself, telling everyone that he funds his movie with Nazi gold, which is fucking hilarious. So Uwe Boll's a little batshit nuts, but I kind of respect him for just being as crazy as he is.
Postal was probably his best movie.
Yeah, it actually looked like a movie. Like, it wasn't terrible. There's some dumb shit in it, but it like quality-wise, overall, it was better. And Postal is such a great game. So, yeah.
Michelle, if you could take a video game movie, since you are on the path of being like the video game director, like queen of the horror industry, you could take any video game and turn it into a movie. Think hard about this. What game would you choose?
I was thinking about this just a couple hours ago, actually, and I would love to tackle Metal Gear Solid because I adore Hideo Kojima, and I would absolutely like bring him on to help with it. And I think that there's so much story already ready to be mined. And I don't know if I would do like 5 first, or if I would do 1. I think like the Shadow Moses thing might not flesh out into a full film well, but maybe it could. I mean, the game is already mostly cutscenes. But no, like
cutscenes. Have you played MGS 2? Jesus Christ.
I mean, MGS 5 starts with a 45-minute cutscene, but like, I actually think like 5 would actually make a really, really good film. Yeah, like the thing about like the first 4 is that they're all like the same story. So like you couldn't cram in like all 4 into like one. So at least 5 sort of like stands alone. But either way, like yeah, just Metal Gear Solid is what I would be like, oh my god, if somebody offered me that.
Well, Metal Gear for Nintendo? Are you talking like the original?
No, I'm not talking Metal Gear. I'm talking Metal Gear Solid.
Metal Gear. I feel asleep.
Yeah, that's a movie that I would make. Although, actually, one of the first short films I ever made was a parody of Manhunt. It was called Manhunt. I was an impressionable teenager, about a kid who plays it and then goes crazy because he played a violent video game and murders everyone like in the game. We used music from the original Metal Gear in it for the stealth parts.
That's creative.
So that was, yeah. Anyway, that's my little 2 cents in there that didn't need to be there. So continue.
The other ones that I would maybe consider, supposedly they say they're going to make a Heavy Rain movie someday, and I'm like, Heavy Rain's almost already a movie in itself. Yeah. But I have thought about like taking the game and then like editing it into like a 2-hour movie. I've thought about doing that because that would be a lot of fun to be able to share it with people like my parents who don't play games, but who I maybe want to like let them experience the story.
I need to buy another copy of that movie because I bought that game used and the piece of paper was completely rubbed apart and it broke when I tried to play the game.
Oh no. You know, you have to kind of just go with the fact that David Cage is weird. The director of Heavy Rain and Detroit, Beyond Two Souls, and Fahrenheit. Yeah. He that's why I love Detroit, is because like it's like copied and pasted from Heavy Rain. Like there's multiple scenes that are just like copy paste from Heavy Rain. And it's the good parts of Heavy Rain, at least.
Have you played Indigo Prophecy?
I haven't. That's a little old as far as like I've bought it and I'm kind of like it's I don't know if I could handle like that level of graphics from like 2002, and especially like the gameplay, what QTEs looked like in like 2002. But I also have I have Omnicron the Nomad Soul, which was their game before that, which is entirely scored by David Bowie. That was their first game. It's got like a 22-track David Bowie soundtrack. I have no idea what the game's about. I just know that it's David Bowie.
He's actually in one of the scenes. He's like a computer-generated like hologram.
Oh my god. Yeah, no, that one I have to go back. I have to go back and play that one. But no, I really love Quantic Dream's work, and Heavy Rain had a weird and goofy and poorly acted but charming story that I think could, you know, in the hands of somebody like David Fincher, could make actually a pretty compelling film.
Oh, cool.
How about you, Gunnar? What video game movie would you love to be a weird actor?
Absolutely, I would love to be Crash Bandicoot.
Now, Crash Bandicoot Warped? Or one of the
Yeah, absolutely. Warped. Or the one that was like the weird racing game version. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, Crash Team Racing.
If
you're
Crash Bandicoot, yeah.
If you're Crash Bandicoot, I would be the mask that follows you and goes,
I would be Daisy or whatever the other one's name is.
Cool gratuitous sex scene.
But yeah, I guess let's see, like, so I mean, I'm not like a super huge gamer, but I do make a point, and this is why I guess I said Crash Bandicoot, but I make a point to play everything that Naughty Dog makes, because that's like the one, like if Naughty Dog's like, hey, you want to quit what you're doing and work for us, I'd be like, okay, yeah, I'll quit and do work. Yeah, that's like the one place, I guess, just because again, I'm not a super gamer, but it's like I don't know, every time I play one of the games it blows me away, so I guess something from
I love the Uncharted games.
Have you seen the new Last of Us gameplay footage?
Yeah, I cried.
That's also a movie, basically.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's what I love about it, because like I just don't I don't spend the time to really like appreciate games. You know, like I like playing things like Fallout and Skyrim and stuff, but I'll play for like 30 minutes and then I'm like, all right, I'm done. You know, but with Last of Us or Uncharted, it's like I gotta keep playing because I gotta figure out what the heck's happening. You know what I mean? Like I gotta figure out what happens next. So that's like the appeal for me, because I'm a big movie nerd.
So you like the narrative?
Yeah, I like the attention to character in those things are so like that's what draws. That's what draws. But I wouldn't say I don't think I want them to do a Last of Us movie or show, because like I really don't think you could do it. Right.
Yeah, didn't
I
have
really
like
don't
Macy
think
Williams like on board for being like Ellie. It was really weird.
Yeah, they talked about that for a long. I don't know if it's actually still happening. You know, because there was a time where David O. Russell was going to direct a Uncharted movie, and I am so happy that that's not happening. Because Mark Wahlberg was going to play Nathan Drake.
Wow.
So many. Yeah, it's like.
Can we stop casting him in movies?
Yeah. I will say, if there's one, actually, let me make this clear. If there's one video game movie that I want to be made, is I want someone to freaking finally give the money to make BioShock. Because if there's one person that if there's one person that I would trust to actually do that right, It would be no one. I wouldn't trust anyone else to do it. When someone finally gave him the money to do it, that I would be stoked.
Gave
terrifying. Guillermo del Toro.
Yeah, I was just about to say that. Yeah.
The only guy who I would like, because he wants to do it. He's trying to do it, but like they just won't give him the money to do it. This is like, you know,
he would be perfect for that.
Yeah, I guess that's my second answer under Crash Bandicoot.
Okay. I would direct. I was just talking about this too. Actually, I have two. Realistically, like real world, it would be Manhunt. The snuff movie game that I am absolutely in love with that game so much. The aesthetics of it and just the story and how fucked up it is and how hyper violent. I love it. So I would direct that movie tomorrow. But grandiose little kid Mike dream is Zombies Ate My Neighbors for Sega Genesis. That game has everything I ever loved about movies all in it, and it's just it would cost so much money. I don't even know how you would fucking make it, but damn, would it be cool? Because it's just everything. It's every genre of horror, like every creature, all in one thing, and it's just so glorious. Like, and I would keep the characters. They would literally have the spiky hair and the 3D glasses, and then the black shirt with the skull. And I'd find a way to justify the character having that crap on because that's what you have to do in movies. Like in the Silent Hill
sequel, set it during the 90s.
Well, they had to give Heather the vest, so they actually had a whole scene of her birthday just to give her the vest. I mean, that's a great usage of 7 minutes of screen time. It really is. So I would totally do some really obnoxious way to make sure that the characters dressed exactly like they are in the second game. And it would be so accurate. It would be great.
I think I would do like Twisted Metal or Oddworld. I think that would be a lot of fun.
Oddworld. That would be a great Del Toro project.
Yeah.
Twisted Metal would be fun. That would kind of, especially if you set it in like the 70s and did it like Gumball Rally or Cannonball Run or or Death Race 2000 or like one of those types of movies. Like if you did Twisted Metal like that, that would be super fun.
Well, no, if you did Twisted Metal Black, would
actually like Death Race.
We need to cast Sylvester Stallone as the young Italian stallion again, like he was in Death Race 2000.
That's right. He wasn't in the original.
Black had like really excellent writing. Their stories were great. You do an anthology piece like that, but I would want to do Twisted Metal 2. So then at the very end, it would have a blimp going by, and then you see like a guy who's crushed on the side of the road going, "What have you done, Calypso? What have you done?"
I would love to see. I would love to see Sweet Tooth and Dark Tooth, like driving alongside each other, like ice cream. Like trucks, like one being bigger than the other, and of course, Dark Tooth's driving like the big black ice cream truck, and he's just like, "We can do this, son," and they're just laughing in their little clown masks, and they're like 1990s futuristic apocalypse, which is what I always wanted.
That would be so cool.
I'm totally with Gunnar though. I'm really into the story-driven games, so a lot of the games that I really like, they almost wouldn't translate well to film because it's already like it already kind of has its done justice in the medium of video games. Like I love Tales from the Borderlands, which is basically already a 10-hour movie. I love Nier Automata, which is already like impossible to adapt to film because it's such a gameplay-based experience. I love A Way Out, which was directed by Joseph Fares, who is a film director, and you just can't get that same emotion if you're not playing it beside somebody that you care about and you're going through the game together. So it's tricky to try to translate video games into films for that reason, because that's why they can't get Hitman right, is because they just keep trying to like make him. They're trying to shape his character into something when it's like you play as Agent 47. You're the one who decides. Agent 47.
Are you telling me you don't like Hitman?
Oh my god!
Well, I didn't mind the more recent Hitman movie. I'm just saying, like the first Hitman, no thanks. But the funny thing about the most recent Hitman movie is that it was abysmal for like the first hour, and then it got really good in the last 20 minutes. And then, of course, it bombed at the box office, and it's like, we'll never get a sequel. And I'm like, crap. Like, I would actually not mind watching a sequel to what we've done with this film. But, yeah, it was like a 1.5-star movie for most of it, and then it became like a 3.5-star movie at the end. And petered out, unfortunately. But I'd maybe like to take a third stab at Hitman. Hitman's fun.
Don't even get me started
you guys
on
just
it.
reminded me. Mark Wahlberg played Max Payne too.
Oh God, yeah.
That
guys,
movie
get
was
out of my
bad.
ears. Get that out of my. That was Javier Jens. Like, no, he was Hitman. Yeah, he was Hitman. I forget who did.
Let's talk about Christian Slater.
Oh my God.
I forgot about that Max Payne movie. That might actually be the worst video game movie I've ever seen. It was so bad.
It's not that it was bad, but it was disappointing. It was like, come on, you have the story, and it's such an easy game to play.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have to like have the fixed camera angles like Paul W.S. Anderson's like excuse for Resident Evil. It's an easy game to play. It's like you watch a John Woo movie, you play the video game, get the characters correctly. Where the fuck does Chris O'Donnell come from? Why is he not wearing the Robin suit? Well, how come we have Beau Bridges starring as BB? Actually, that was a pretty good fucking choice. But no, like that movie was disappointing. It was like we could have done better. We should have done better. We should have fired Mark Wahlberg. We should have brought someone in that would have got paid a lot less than him and put all that money towards an actual movie. But
a no-name actor.
Yeah, like we don't need Mila Kunis playing Mona Sachs. Fuck that shit. Get some like nobody to like play that role. She was a nobody. She wasn't even like really important character in the first one. It wasn't until Max Payne 2 to fall with Max Payne when Mona Sachs was just like, "Hey, I'm gonna follow you around for 75% of the game." But Hitman is disappointing beyond belief, and I agree with you, Michelle, because when I first heard that Timothy Olyphant was going to be Hitman, I was like, I don't know about this guy. Maybe we shaved his head. He'll look. He shaved his head.
Evil, am I right?
Yeah, and he shaved his head, and they made this movie, and like they're like, yeah, Javier Jens is really excited. He did Frontiers. He's going to make this Hitman movie really fun. Frontiers was a crazy movie.
The Hitman movie? Are you kidding? The guy that made Divide? The bomb shelter movie? I have to watch this now. Holy shit! I have to.
So it's not as you think it is, Mike. And then they're like the first 5 minutes of the movie. Oh, okay. Let's reuse recycled scenes from Dark Angel with the kids escaping the fucking laboratory, and let's have the hitmen shave their head. Let's make it a choice. The reason why they shaved their heads. It wasn't a choice in the video games. They were clones.
He's got this weird thing about people shaving their heads. He did it in Frontier. Seriously. He talks about it on the commentary, like he told the one person to Divide. It said this whole scene, all you have to do is shave your head and you're crying by the end. It's like this weird like metaphor for fascism that he's got going on. He's obsessed with that image. It's really strange. It's like you're losing your humanity when they shave your head. That's like, I fucking kid you not. He went on like a 20-minute tirade about it. And I was like, I don't understand why you keep having people shave in your movie. It's like, what is? It's like this Jason Goes to Hell. Like, why is there so many?
Yeah. Hi, Kevin. How are you?
Great. How are you?
Finally see you now.
Kevin Foster has joined us. He was also at Crimson Screen. Was a big fan of LiveScream.
Hi, Kevin.
Hello.
Hi, Kevin.
Hello.
But yeah, no, like Hitman was one of those movies where it could have done better, and I was so glad to see that they revamped the Hitman. Like they're like, we're gonna forget about the first movie, we're gonna make another movie. And I was like, okay, let's do this shit. And it's like, all right, let's watch this movie. And then it was like, holy shit, you just fucked it up again. Why? But then they have Zachary Quinto getting strangled by a suit and then thrown into a supercomputer at the end. And then he becomes like a mutant Zachary Quinto with like superpowers, and it makes no fucking sense.
Now I know there's computers in this movie.
There's computers and there's
a lady hitman. That's the whole thing. Is that
there's a
hit girl. Hit lady, yeah, like he doesn't know or something like that. Well, that was what I thought was like maybe the more intriguing part of the film was just like, okay, now they're like, she's his equal and stuff, and now they're partners. And like I thought that was kind of cool, but everything else was just Zachary Quinto was eating the entire scenery in that film. So at least he got paid, I guess.
Yeah, they don't need to do this shit. Like Hitman, you could just like if no one's ever played Codename 47. Then you skip like the whole Hitman 47 was a clone and he fights his other clones and he kills the professor who made him. That's basically the first game. Silent Assassins was like you seek a redemption. He works for a priest in Italy and then the priest gets kidnapped, and he's like, "Oh, time to use my skills again," and then so forth. And Blood Money is when it brought more gamers into the mix, and people were like, "Oh my god, I love Blood Money." And then Absolution came out, and that was like a Splinter Cell meets Hitman. But I'm a huge Hitman fan, and it was really disappointing to. Yeah, you would have never guessed.
Yes,
and it was really disappointing to see.
Side note,
it was really disappointing to see that there was 2 Hitman movies and they fucked it up twice.
They did.
Hey guys, I'm gonna have to call the night. I'm gonna have to wake up really early in the morning. I'm sorry, but is there any other last questions you guys wanna ask me before I lay on a very?
So Gunnar, I have a question. How dare you? No, that's cool. But so, how did you feel about the script, with LiveScream not being a gamer and stuff? When you read it, did you respond? What I think is really powerful about the movie is the emotional core to it. And I think that you did a really good job of helping to aid that. So what was attractive about the project to you? Or was it just hey, Michelle's cool, I'm going to do a movie with her? Or was it the content? And you can lie if you want to because she can hear you. What attracted you to this project, basically? And then what are your thoughts on all 5 Hitman games?
That's a lot of questions.
I think he's frozen. That or he's just staring at me. It's like, what a fucking idiot.
I don't know how to answer any of those questions.
Well, no, I think the biggest thing that attracted me to it was one, like you said, the emotional core was really attractive to me because the first audition I had, I guess the cold audition, was one of the more emotional scenes in the movie. Okay. And when I heard the idea for the movie, I wasn't expecting to get that audition, I guess. So I was like, oh, cool. There's actually this is a character I can actually really dig into and have a lot of fun. And I play a lot of, I guess my typecast is kind of the goofy best friend from high school, especially in horror films. I'm usually the guy that's like, that's a bad idea. And then I get killed. So it's cool to, it was cool to be offered the chance to play someone who is really layered and really, I don't know, it was a challenge for me, both for the character and both the way we were shooting in general. And to me, it was it felt foolish not to go for it because it was, I really loved the first audition and it was just a ton of fun, as well as digging into a type of character that I'm not really able to do a lot. So I think that was the biggest thing. I was like, this just seems like a really freaking fun thing to do, and I want to push myself. So yeah, that's honestly what I want. Is there was a chance to push myself, and I'm really grateful for it.
So what other films? Because you mentioned some various projects. What other films can we see you in? I'd love to see more of your work.
Me? Let's see. I am. Well, I've done a few this year.
Okay, that's enough, Brian. No, sorry. Plug away.
Let's see. You can actually see it now. I'd say honestly, it's just Google me and my IMDb page. We'll let you know. But I've been
upcoming. I guess
my first movie in was from Tommy Fairclough, Dollface.
Okay. Very cool.
Say what?
I know I said very cool. I know Dollface. I'll have to rewatch that. I don't remember. It's been a long time since I saw that.
Hello?
Can you hear us? Yeah, is there
Sorry, I missed all.
He asked, "What do you feel about a Super Mario Brothers sequel with John Leguizamo?" I'm kidding.
No, Gunnar, so we can let you go. What's the newest?
So you've seen Dollface?
Yeah, I saw it a while back. Then Crinoline Head was the sequel to that, right? I'm pronouncing that terribly wrong. I remember way back, it was probably 5-6 years ago. I remember I saw at least part of it.
Mm-hmm.
But what's the newest project that you've got? What movie would you like to plug? Let's just keep it simple and do that.
LiveScream. It's a movie. Well, actually, there's a movie that I'm really excited about that I was in just recently. It's not out yet, but you guys keep a lookout for it. It's called Pageant Material, and I play a character named Gus. I am a local librarian, and it's basically a it's a retelling of a Cinderella story, but it's about a young gay teen in the South that finds a drag pageant that he wants to be a part of, and it's like I couldn't be happier to be a part of it. My friends wrote and directed it, and it's going to be something really special. So it's a thing I've been a part of. I'm just a small part of it, but I couldn't be more stoked about it.
Very cool. Is that on the festival circuit yet, or is that still in production?
Not yet. It will be soon. It will be soon. But there's a Facebook page. You guys can look it up. Very, very cool. It's being made out of the Atlanta area. Couldn't be more excited about it. Honestly, it's going to be something. It's just going to be awesome. I can't wait to see it.
Yeah, that is very cool. You would be a very imposing librarian, being as tall as you are.
Well, I did pretty much all of it. So that's.
I would be very fearful of turning a book in late if you were my librarian.
Well, I won't take that as a compliment. I'm going to take that as a compliment.
Ryan Savage.
That's what I would say. Great fear. What's up?
Ryan Savage said goodnight and asked, "What's your favorite type of meat?"
What's my favorite type of meat?
The questions that the people need to know.
I'll tell you my favorite type of meat. I'm going to take this question very seriously. So my favorite type of meat, my grandfather, call him Poppy West, he smokes venison meat.
Ooh.
And it is the best damn thing you've ever put in your mouth. Let me tell you, it is delicious.
I tried putting a live venison in my mouth.
Very lean.
Is this a peep from Venice that he's smoking, or is this a different? Am I mistaking you?
It's deer meat.
From Venice.
Deer.
Yeah, deer meat. Yeah,
Deer meat.
it's so that is my favorite meat, Ryan Savage.
It's also really good in chili too.
Real, I've had deer jerky is good. I don't like deer bologna is the big thing where I live. I don't like deer bologna.
I watched a deer get hit by a car, but never could imagine what it's like to eat it after it was hit.
Well, that's really sad because it feels like that was like the easiest chance for you just to scoop some.
Brian, did you see it through a backup camera when I was driving?
I wish. No, I actually saw it after I got done watching the second Hitman movie, leaving the theater. And as I was walking out the door, I was so fast out of anger, I ran into a deer and killed it.
That's wonderful. Okay.
And I set it on fire to put it out of its misery.
Because it too saw Hitman.
Yeah. That's all Max. Is anyone else going to do the questions for Gunnar? We should let him go for real. Does anyone have Jared, Brian? You guys got any questions for him to wrap him up?
Gunnar, you were awesome.
Yeah,
you were incredibly awesome in LiveScream. Definitely took notes very well. I very much enjoyed the movie. I very much enjoyed you as a faux gamer. But no, you did an incredible job, and I can't wait to see more of your work, my friend. So keep up the good work, and hopefully we'll get to see each other in person, and I get to high five you and talk about venison.
The balding test subject.
Yes, absolutely. Well, I really appreciate it, guys. Thank you so much.
It's just so weird seeing my clone through this is maybe when you grow to be taller, then we can look at each other eye to eye.
Yeah, as soon as I'm gonna let you know as soon as I get to 620.
Yep.
And then we'll have a twin face off.
To echo what they said, dude, seriously, you absolutely rocked in LiveScream. I'm very excited to see your performance. Everybody was really, really excited at Crimson Screen when you won Best Actor. I heard a lot of people saying "fucking A right." And I'm not just saying that because you're on here. I can verify that. People were the whole Doomsday crew was super excited. We actually had bleeding hands from clapping so hard. Awards, so.
Say clapping or fapping? I want to go with the latter.
It wasn't that kind of cam stream, Brian.
Well, I feel it was very well deserved because it felt realistic. You did a very awesome job, Gunnar.
Thank you so much. I'm really bad at compliments, but I really want to tell you guys how much I appreciate it. Especially for something as challenging as this. I really, really do appreciate it.
Not a
and
problem.
Thank you, Michelle, for letting me play Scott.
I couldn't have picked anyone else.
All right. Well, you guys have a wonderful night.
Thank you. I think I speak for the whole heart when I say good night, sweet prince, and may your dream the wings of angels.
That's right. Now get the fuck out of here so we can talk shit about you.
Sounds good. Well, good thing this is recorded. I can watch it later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. See you guys.
Thank you. See you, dude.
Good night.
Okay, fucking Christ, thank God he's off. Now we can get back to the important shit. So which Hitman sequel did you like?
Yo, so now that we're back on Hitman, I got this DVD. Did you guys get this yet?
I'm not. I have one of the Hitman games for the 360 downstairs, and I haven't even opened it. I've owned it for 5 years.
It comes with a flat book.
It's still sealed.
Look, there's a pug, Justice 47 in Mardi Gras, and there's the penguin assassin behind him.
I don't even know what to think about this.
That's
so
fucking
Michelle,
funny.
I'm going to address another elephant in the room.
Oh.
When the f live scream 2?
Oh, yeah, I can't talk about that.
There's a live stream too. Holy shit!
It's already finished. I saw it on BitTorrent when I was looking up the.
That's the funniest thing. Like, I have seen it on so many torrenting sites. There's no way you can have it, and I'm not going to try to download this and see if it's real.
You know why it happened? Because you won an award. As soon as that gets listed on IMDb, it just auto-generates like 1,000 fake torrent sites. Because it happened with Doomsday.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, dude, your movie's getting torrented. And then I'm like, why did you find it? How did you find it? They get quiet. But none of them are real.
They're not.
Yeah, no, it's just two dudes dressed as Spider-Man banging it out.
No, one of them even said it was in 4K, and I'm like, that ain't right. This movie is not.
That is not right.
This movie, no version of this movie exists in 4K.
If it's possible, if Trauma or Full Moon released it on Blu-ray, they claim it was 4K.
But yeah, so LiveScream 2. I don't know how much I want to talk about that actually, because I'm kind of like, it's kind of a secret project. I know what I'm going to call it.
LiveScream harder.
LiveScream Blood Money.
2 LiveScream 2 Furious.
2 live, 2 scream.
Just wait and see.
No, basically
Space Force.
For real, I can
have everyone
I can
shave their
talk
head.
about. Oh, have everyone shave their head. Yeah, Gunner's in it, but he's 6'20" and has a shaved head.
With a barcode on the back of his neck.
Example for him, just call me because I'm already 6'20". You don't have to do the Karloff boots for him.
Well, and then suddenly, Hideo Kojima appears, and it's actually a Metal Gear Solid movie.
Too.
So actually,
Snake that's 8 foot tall.
Full realism here. I'm in a conundrum with that because I don't know what's going to happen with LiveScream. So, I don't know if it's going to get distribution. I don't know what the distribution deal is going to be, or as far as like the rights go. So it's one of those things where I have an idea and I know what I want to do for a sequel and I want to make a sequel, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to. And so I'm kind of in that place. I kind of just have to wait to see what happens with LiveScream and see where it goes. And if somebody wants to like maybe give me money for a sequel, that would help.
I'll give you $5.
Well, if I ever start a crowdfunding campaign, I will hunt you down and ask for that.
Thank God.
No, seriously, being dead serious, if you did a crowdfunder, I would contribute $6.
$6.
At least.
You know what?
At least. I want that fucking social media shout out.
Mike will carve the name Venison on his chest.
That would pay for exactly 1 burrito for 1 cast member for 1 day, so I would appreciate it.
1 burrito.
But yeah, so actually, this is kind of cool. Unreal Engine or Epic Games has a grant fund where you can request between $5,000 and $50,000 if you're doing something cool with Unreal Engine. So I'm thinking that would actually be the funding route I would go. Is I would write the script and I would kind of have an idea of how much I would need for it. I would actually do custom assets this time. I would actually hire modelers, and the programming that I would need to do it would be more complicated than I think I could handle, because it would need to have like multiplayer stuff that I don't know how to deal with. So
well, you can get Gun Media from Friday the 13th. They don't have anything to do right now.
Yeah. I mean,
I can do you one better, Michelle. Contact Madman Studios from Agony, because they're busy not patching it for any console, and it's unplayable right now. So they're probably more than happy to work for you.
God, I didn't even know that game had come out yet.
It didn't. It's, well, at least not in playable form, but you can pay for it and own it. It just doesn't work.
Maybe I'll hit up that Star Citizen money and get some of their $30 million that they're spending on Mark Hamill or whatever, and still not releasing a game. But yeah, so Unreal has that fund. So I think that if I figure out what's going to happen with live stream and whether I can make a sequel, that'll probably be the route, because you can only hit crowdfunding so many times, and I really want to save that for like the absolute only resort. So if I have another option like this to make like live stream stuff, then I will take advantage of that. And I'm actually going to be in Raleigh on July 26th or something for Raleigh SuperCon. We're going to be airing there. And Raleigh is the hometown of Epic Games, which makes Fortnite and Unreal Engine. So I'm thinking about hitting up some people who work at Epic Games and getting them to come out and maybe supporting the film. So we'll see if I can get in touch with any of them out there.
Very
Sweet. Cool. Brian, I would kick your ass in some Fortnite.
I'm not trying to play games.
I have a spoilery question. So if anyone who hasn't seen the movie yet, just plug your ears. If you don't have to answer if you don't want to, but if there were to be a live Scream 2, would there be more backstory about what the game actually is or who created it?
Yes.
Okay, so
cool.
And that.
Well, the note said, "Beware the sirens," and then the game claims to be a siren. Is that a plot point that's going to be explored further? Sorry,
yeah.
A Japanese RPG is speaking through me right now. So
yeah, I think definitely. I kind of have an idea of the lore and the origin and everything, and kind of where I want to go. One of the things that, and this is like kind of non-spoilery, one of the things that I was kind of bummed about, I guess, when I made Livescream is that just the lack of diversity in it. Because it's like my first film that didn't pass the Bechdel test. It's basically, one 25-year-old white dude, and I don't have any like women, and I don't have many non-white people in it. So I really want to, if I have an opportunity to make a sequel, add more diversity, add women gamers, add POC gamers, add WOC gamers, LGBT gamers, and maybe start to explore a little bit of how they walk through the Twitch world and how they walk through the gaming world. Because one of the things that I didn't want to distract from Livescream's core plot, which was the emotional core of the relationship between the streamer and his fans. I didn't want to bog that down with kind of the social commentary on top of it of, well, this is what it's like to be a girl on Twitch, because it's
Too
a
much
different
political correctness.
Well, it's just a different experience, and I feel like if Gunner's character was just a woman and the movie was identical, it would be very insincere because it would be inaccurate. Like there would be this glaring like rose-colored glassesness about it that would really bother me. So instead, I think that maybe in an ensemble cast or something like that, in the future, I could touch on that a little bit more and just sort of show the realism that if we actually sort of made that with more intent instead of having it be like this thing that would have to be extra baggage on top of like what we're already doing in the original Livescream, the film we have now. So yeah, that would be something I'd really like to explore in the future, especially as a female gamer myself. I've started to notice, and like I don't know if this is going to be more of a thing in the future, but I know that the more people learn about the film, and the more people learn about me, and the more widespread it gets, and the less control I have over sort of where it gets mentioned in the PR and everything, the more I can already sort of anticipate there's going to be some like Gamergate style backlash, you know, because there's going to be people who are like, she's a girl, she doesn't know anything about games, she's a total poser, like. But, you know, if you watch the film, you would know that's crap. Like, nobody who, you know, doesn't know about games could ever have made this film.
That's the thing that I like. You know, it was very detail-oriented with all of the chat log and everything. It came off as extremely realistic, and it's hard to duplicate that. Even down to the screen names. Like, obviously, I mean, even if I had never met you, I would just sit down and say, whoever made this movie knew their fucking shit.
Yeah. I agree.
I definitely admire that. And if anyone gives you shit about that, then they're asshole trolls, and they should be fed to LiveScream.
like Johnny Dope.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so I mean, I did touch on trolling a little bit with Johnny Dope, but that was just very sort of generic trolling. I mean, there's a lot of things in LiveScream that are kind of broad, just because we're touching on broad elements of the culture and stuff, and you know, we're focusing mostly on that relationship between streamer and fans, and that's really what ties it all together. In the future, in a sequel, I'd like to focus on the relationship between gamers and other gamers, or streamers and other streamers. So that's where I would kind of maybe ditch the audience element of it and instead do like a multiplayer thing.
Multiplayer element, yeah.
Would you, and now again, you don't have to answer this because this might jeopardize what your plans are, but would you film it in the same type of format, or would this be more like a traditional film with those video game moments, like where it cuts away to game stuff?
It would still be found footage. It would still be that kind of that format. I actually did consider, like, what if I had, like, you know, a more like cinematic, like typical narrative filmmaking style? And I was like, I feel like it would break it.
I'm thinking like Lawnmower Man 2, Ghost in the Machine, you know, the classics, Hackers, you know, something along like a 90, like if I may, find like a cement factory and build the entire thing into like a 90s dystopian future. Video games in it, I think, would really be the key to making LiveScream 2 a big success.
No, I think it's one of those things where I know that sequels fail when they break the format. You always want to do something new. You want to level it up. You want to raise the stakes, but you don't want to completely jeopardize everything that people liked about the first one. And I think my dad actually, when we were at Wilmington Film Festival last weekend, and you know, my dad was seeing it for the first time. He was like, "Could you have like cut away from like the gameplay element and just like shown Gunnar like walking around his house for like 20 minutes and just focus on him, because I felt bad that he was like in this tiny box and he's acting his guts out and I'm looking at other parts of the screen." And I'm like, that would totally break the movie, though. Yeah. Like it wouldn't make any sense. Like you would watch, you know, gameplay for 50 minutes and then just suddenly not have that anymore would be super weird.
I feel like you're wrong, Dad. You failed. You failed as a father. Go back to your home.
Yeah, I don't always take his advice about things. Somebody said it in my first book.
What if you did like at the end, like an after credit sequence, where Gunnar, after he screams, he finds out he's stuck in that box physically. He's trapped, and that's the ultimate curse of life.
And then he has to shave his head.
Plot thickens.
Just that's the end credits. Isn't just taking it.
Hey, if Gunnar needs any stunt doubles, Mike Lombardo, director of White Doomsday, will be a stunt double.
Well, and we can have Lex double, and she can shave her head. And I can make my hair dolls, which will fund. I'll give some of that money to LiveScream too, and then I'll use.
But isn't Gunnar like 2 feet taller than Lex?
Special effects technology, the way it is today. I mean, I can do I'll just do like some prosthetics on her. I can make her look just like him. I mean, you know.
All right. So as we wrap up this wonderful live episode here on THS Lives, we're going to go over to Michelle. And Michelle, this is the part of the night where you shamelessly promote yourself. Anything you want to say, anything you want to throw out there. If you got a blog journal entry that you've written 10 years ago that you want to read out loud, you go ahead and do it. It's up to you. But this is where you promote yourself. What's going on in the world of LiveScream?
Okay, so first of all, go to facebook.com/octopunkmedia and like that page. That's my company site. I'm sort of trying to funnel everybody to the company site now. I do have a page for LiveScream, and if you want to like that, feel free. I'm also trying not to post the same content to both pages, so if you like both of them, you won't be spammed with the same crap. But basically, Octopunk Media is going to be my company that I'm building everything under. I've got that Fallout project that I'm working on and hope to release next summer. So, you know, if you like Fallout, you should like my page for that. Any updates on LiveScream are going to be on that page. And I'm also dabbling and actually getting into producing actual playable video games and not just video games in the form of film. So all that'll be coming over the next, several months and stuff. And I'm having a pretty cool little Facebook event on July 11th. It's going to be my first Octopunk monthly update. It's going to be live. And basically every month I'm going to start sharing little sneak peeks of stuff and news. And we're going to do giveaways of swag. And we're probably going to do giveaways of actual video games. I'm going to get some Steam keys and give away some of my favorite games. So definitely like that page if you want to follow all of that. Let's see what else we got. We got some LiveScream screenings coming up in the next couple of months on July 12th through 15th. If you go to Fort Lauderdale, Florida, you can go to Florida SuperCon and you can catch LiveScream screening there. We're also going to be at Raleigh SuperCon, July 27th through 29th in Raleigh, North Carolina. And we'll be at Gen Con on August 2nd at 5 p.m. in Indianapolis. And I'll be present at Raleigh and in Gen Con. So if you want to come meet me and do Q&A and stuff, I will be at those two as well.
There's also going to be a screening of LiveScream at Scares That Care Film Festival. I'm just going to say that for the first time publicly. So you're our first early acceptance. LiveScream will be playing there. I don't know when. I haven't done the schedule yet, but that's in Virginia. Wait, Williamsburg, Virginia.
Williamsburg, Virginia. And it'll be the same weekend as Gen Con. So unfortunately, I can't clone myself and go to.
Few places. It was good.
But it'll be like
try
August
to quantum
2nd.
leap herself.
Yeah. Yeah, I need an Agent 47 of myself. I'm trying to scroll through and see if there's anything else. Octopunkmedia.com is my website. You can see all of my previous work, including LiveScream. You can see press for LiveScream, screenings, posters, upcoming screenings, news, just anything else. But I would say the Facebook page is probably the best place to kind of get the up-to-date stuff and to get in on those monthly Facebook Lives that I'm going to start doing. Because in this first Facebook Live, and this is the first time I'm mentioning this, I've got a short film project coming up that we're gonna do a little teaser that's gonna have a world premiere teaser trailer on that Facebook Live, and we might have a poster reveal for something else, but that's probably not going to be till August. And then I'm also gonna do I'm gonna start doing some LiveScream and Octopunk merch. So that'll be merch week is July 9th. So every day, July 9th through 13th. I'm going to post a different item of merch that will be available on the Octopunk site. So if you want one of my up, down, down, die t-shirts or my Octopunk Media shirt or a bunch of other designs I'm going to come up with, and not just shirts, but maybe pins and hats and all other sorts of
stuff. Let us know when you have LiveScream posters. I know Lex Quinn was asking about that. She's very excited to have a poster.
I have 8.5 by 11 posters, but I think that I'm going to do some 11 by 17s and put them on the site. So
that's what I
that'll be one of the things.
Excellent.
Sweet. So yeah, that's Michelle's plug.
All right. Well,
one more thing. You can actually
go ahead.
You can if you go to octopunkmedia.com, this is pretty easy to find, but you can also look it up on SoundCloud. The entire soundtrack to LiveScream is free to stream on SoundCloud. So go check out my husband's work. I'm really proud of it. He's really proud of it. And if you just want like some fun techno atmospheric music in the background, it's very synthwave, very video gamey. That is on SoundCloud. So that's the only other thing.
Excellent.
All right. Awesome. Thank you very much. All right. So my name is Brian Enright. You can follow me here on Facebook at Brian Enright, or you can follow me on Instagram at The Horror Jew. Up next, Jared Letourneau. Jared, tell them where you're from. Snake out of Compton.
I live in Kansas, so it's nowhere near Compton.
Yes,
but you guys can follow me on Facebook at Jared Letourneau and on the Twatverse at zombie_survivor. And if you guys want to go to the Horror Syndicate website, I have a review of Penn Jillette's director's cut.
And he froze.
Comedy flick that just came out on Blu-ray.
And he froze again, ladies and gentlemen.
On the website.
All right. Thank you very much, Jared Letourneau. Up next, we have Mike Lombardo and Lex Quinn.
Lex Quinn. Lex a little different. I don't know how it is. I'm in Lancaster.
This show changes everybody.
You can find me at facebook.com/realsplatter. That's real with 2 E's. You can find me at www.realsplatter.com. My film, I'm Dreaming of a White Doomsday, the post-apocalyptic Christmas movie that'll warm your heart, is going to be playing at a bunch of festivals that I can't talk about, or maybe they haven't been accepted yet, and I'm lying. You'll just have to wait and see. You can also find a review of LiveScream that I wrote on the horrorsyndicate.com, on the Facebook page as well, so you should read that. And yeah, thank you, Michelle, for being here. It was an absolute pleasure.
This was super fun. Thank you for inviting me, and thank you for doing that review today as well.
Yeah,
you're very welcome. And of course, Michelle, once again, where can we find you?
Facebook.com/OctoPunkMedia, and I posted a link to that in the comments.
All right. Well, thank you very much for joining us, everybody. Have a great, safe night. And if those of you are following VHS Midnight Presentation, enjoy the double feature tonight. Glad to have you. Have a good night, everybody. Thank you. All right, so that's good. And we're still on YouTube Live. This is the part where Mike Lombardo gets naked.
Yeah.
And shaves his
THS
head.
After Dark.
Yeah. See, we're still live on Facebook, too.
We are. No, we're not.
It says on...
No, it's like a 30-second delay.
Okay, good. Okay. I can let my hair down now. I was actually going to pitch, another version was going to be called Live Cream, and that was going to be like the Pornhub version. I don't know if Gunnar would be into that. Again, I can body double.
Well, you could play as him.
Well, that's what I was saying. I could be Scott. They always recast people in sequels anyway. So if people want to see something that's potentially more horrific than Serbian film, then they can watch me striptease on webcam.
I'll just make you a dank meme in the background of some terrible 3D dungeon.
Yeah. Actually, it'd be a really interesting marketing campaign. You could actually fund the next movie by people paying me to not release that. Hold them hostage. What is this? What's the Blu-ray of that? They're doing, I think it's Unearthed is doing like a 3-disc Blu-ray of that movie soon. It's like the actual full-on director's cut. I don't know how you feel about that movie, Michelle, but I absolutely love Serbian film. I think it's a really, really great political metaphor and stuff. And it's not for everyone. It's a very, very dark movie, but I love dark films, and I absolutely adore that movie.
I've heard it's really, really grisly. I'm really not into body horror and stuff. That's why I won't watch the new Suspiria, is because it's all body horror and crap, and I ain't into that.
Oh.
Have you seen the original one?
No.
He pulled out a Serbian film patch that he bought on the internet. I was visiting last weekend.
The original Suspiria is really good.
I love gory stuff. At this point, it's just as long as it has a point and there's a story. They don't like just shock value exploitation stuff. I did when I was younger, but it doesn't do anything for me anymore. That's why I love Cannibal Holocaust, because it's a really fucked up movie and that's what people know it for, but it's actually really, really, really great commentary on the media and stuff. And I think that's why all the nastiness works for it. Especially the animal slaughter stuff. I know a lot of people have a big problem with that, but I think...
Or the vaginal impalement.
Yeah.
I like the scene where Mark Wahlberg shows up and he talks to a plant.
That stuff... It's making a point. The animal slaughter stuff, I think, is important because they're showing the sensationalized... I can't talk. how the media sensationalizes violence. And the Jörg Buttgereit, who directed Necromantic and Strom and Toto's King, he has a lot of animal slaughter clips in his films, like a Necromantic too. And he said he put it in there because he wanted to fuck with the fans, because they're like, oh, it's like, why are you watching this movie? Why are you watching a movie about necrophilia? Like, why is this fun for you? And then they can say, oh, well, it's because it's fake, and I love that. But then he puts in real animal slaughter. He's like, it's not fake anymore. What does that say about you if you're watching this for entertainment? And it's a really great, fun way. Like, I like how confrontational he is against his own fans for that sort of thing. I don't know. I think it's really interesting. That's a whole crazy side tangent. Let's get back to Hitman.
What do you guys think of Lars von Trier?
I don't know that I've watched a movie of his.
I love him.
I love that box set, Jared. I have the book too. It's so fucking amazing to read. George Buttgereit's like one of my favorite directors of all time. I fucking love him. But no, Lars von Trier, I really need to watch more of his stuff. I hear, what is it, Nymphomaniac? Is that the new one he just did? Or
that wasn't great.
He did one with Matt Dillon, I think, or that's his name, right?
The house that Jack built.
Yeah.
That looked interesting. That one looks like something I'd like.
Was that the guy that did Antichrist?
Yeah.
Antichrist was a fucking movie.
Well? Was that him?
Melancholia, yeah.
I saw like half of that.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's weird. Like, my tastes are so all over the place with that kind of stuff. Like, I love art house stuff sometimes, but some of it's a little too stuffy for me. And I don't know. I've kind of got my one foot planted in each side of it. Like, I love like slow burn, like art house, but I also love like trauma. Well, not actually.
Yeah.
Like, I hate new trauma, but like I love 80s B movies. That's actually the new movie I'm going to make, Masterwork. That it's about a filmmaker trying to make this movie, and he's a film student, and that's kind of his struggle. Is he grew up watching cheesy horror movies, but now he's into like art house, and he's kind of trying to blend the two together but still be taken seriously, and it doesn't work, and that's my life right now. So it's kind of, yeah. Anyway.
That sounds like a labor of love.
It's gonna be an incredibly painful movie to make. Like, I'm telling people, it's like Doomsday was the most personal thing I ever made, but this is going to be just as personal, but it's going to have a little bit of comedy in it. Like, it'll be like Old Real Splatter mixed with Doomsday. Not quite as ridiculous as Old Real Splatter, but it's basically the type of movie I always wanted to make. Like, you know, I always had that tagline that my life's goal is to prove artistic expression can involve necrophilia and chainsaws. And that's what, like, I want to have like actual subtext, but wrap it up in, you know, elements from old horror movies and stuff, just to kind of force people to take it seriously. Like, horror is like I cannot think of the fucking term. I'm so tired. Horror's like the trashy little sister of the film genres. Like, no one takes it seriously. And I think that's really shitty, because horror lets you deal with so many things you could never address the different genre, and people instantly think Friday the 13th, or they think like super low budget DIY. Like, let's just use this as an excuse to get girls to get naked and covered in fake blood in their movies. And I hate both of those types of movies, and I want to show people that indie horror can be not that. And another side tangent, that's a real problem I'm having with being film festival judge, because that's all the fucking shit I keep getting is that crap, and I'm like, I don't want to play this. But that's what audiences like. Mm-hmm. But then at the same time, like, I'm trying to promote and support indie horror, but I think so much of it is fucking garbage. And I don't want to support it, but I have to support it. And it's really difficult. I don't know. I'm in a weird place right now professionally and with that sort of thing. But anyway.
You're walking a tightrope versus artistic creativity versus schlock.
Well, schlock is fine. I just hate movies where it's like I have no problem with nudity and stuff. Like, there's no problem with that whatsoever. If a bunch of chicks want to take their tops off, that's fine. I only ask that then there's an equal amount of men taking off their clothes too, because like, I hate that. Like, I remember I just saw Kevin has a 28 Days Later patch with him right now. When I saw 28 Days Later in the theater, there was the scene in the beginning when Cillian Murphy wakes up in the hospital bed naked and you see his dick. Half the theater was like scrambling for the exit, like, oh my god!
Wait a minute, hold on. You get to see Cillian Murphy's dick in a film?
Yeah, it's 28 Days.
It's a 20-minute close-up.
that film.
Or as I like to call it, 28 inches later.
Yeah, not quite.
I love him. Like, I based one of the main characters on my book on Cillian Murphy, so I'm just like, I need to watch 28 Days Later now.
Yeah, well, 28 Days Later is a phenomenal movie outside of the dong.
But I think I have a stream about it, actually.
But anyway, like everyone got up, they were all pissed off. Like, I can't believe it. Everyone said, puzzled me so much. Like, this is so fucking gay. Like, what? I was like, you have a dick. Like, you see it every day. You watch porn, and like, it's showing nudity does not instantly equal sexuality. Like, that's what I hate. Like, I think non-sexualized nudity needs to be utilized more. You can show vulnerability. You can show so much stuff with that, and it doesn't have to be Friday the 13th. Right there. That's something, Jared. Thank you for that.
See, it doesn't have to mean anything.
Yeah, we really do it up on the Horror Syndicate, Michelle.
You're welcome.
It annoys me when they treat male nudity as this big taboo thing, and I think it's so stupid.
Yeah, that's what I love about the Theta Girl, is that not only were there so many dicks in that film, the director put his dick in that film.
Well, he said I would never ask someone to do something that I wouldn't do too, and that's absolutely my philosophy. Fortunately, I've never cast anyone naked in a film, so I didn't have to punish anyone with that. But like I've been out where we've shot in like sub-zero temperatures, and I took my jacket off out of solidarity, like that kind of shit. And if I wanted someone to be naked, I absolutely would offer the same because it's only fair. Like I respect that a lot, especially in the indie world when the line between exploitation and professionalism is so thin.
Yeah,
I think that's really important.
Yeah, I mean, I know so many actresses who have been asked to do whatever in an indie film, and they weren't even getting paid. There was no contract. It was like so under the table or whatever, and it's like so sketchy. And and then they get mad when these women want to drop out and stuff and call them divas and start blasting them and dragging them on Facebook, and it's like, maybe we should be more professional in the first place and not ask her to take her top off for no money.
Absolutely. Well, that's like, I mean, I've done projects where there was, nudity and stuff, not my own. I worked as like an effects artist and stuff, so I do live casting and all that shit. But I had my ex-girlfriend was in a music video topless, and it's like on set, even, I told everyone, I'm like, this is a closed set. As soon as the shot was the camera cut, I was there with a towel. And she's like, you don't have to do that. I'm like, I do. It's like, it doesn't matter that we're dating. It's a matter of respect. It's like, that's not what you're here for. You're playing a role, and the minute you're not playing that role, then you have no business not being clothed like this. Because you see so many, I've been on so many sets as an effects artist, and I see these fucking skis bag directors being so shitty, and they're just like, it's so unprofessional on set. I hate that. It's like, Jesus Christ, man. Like, what is your problem? Like, this would never fly in any other situation. Like I cannot stand that. It's a huge pet peeve of mine. So it makes every filmmaker, it makes all the indie filmmakers look bad, and it's not cool. But I don't know. It's just something that it always just bugs me. But I don't like the role that sex plays in popular entertainment. I don't think that it's portrayed properly because it's so female nudity centric, and that's it. And I don't know. I have a great big rep in the audience. Like sometimes I really hate the horror community. Like I love the filmmaking community, but I really hate the horror community a lot of times. Like that's really,
it feels like there needs to be boobs if it's a slasher film, or it feels like there needs